Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Monetary Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen in front of you right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the brand new Big Bad Workshop stroke Fresh Monkey Fiction Order of the Crimson Moon Wolfsbane figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about the Wolfsbane figure. So if you've been thinking about picking one up for yourself, you'll have good, thorough information to make a purchase decision around. We'll kick things off by jumping back in time to take a look at the packaging on the day it arrived on my doorstep. Although, brief word of warning, folks, had a few microphone issues when I recorded the packaging section, so it's a little bit quiet and cuts out every now and again. Please soldier on through, it gets better later on in the vid. Once we've done that, we'll get into the figure itself, talk about Wolfsbane's aesthetic and visual experience, talk about his articulation and posability, run down all the accessories and determine whether we think they're added value or not, and then pop him next to a couple of other figures so we can see how he kind of displays and hangs out with the rest of the line. And with all that said and done, you should have good, thorough information to know whether Wolfsbane is a character you want to crack your wallet or purse open for. So let's get into it and let's jump back in time to visit past Chris with the packaging and see what's going on there. Here we go. All right then, folks, here's Wolfsbane in packaging then, and as you can see, it's standard Fresh Monkey Fiction style packaging here with the logo in the top corner, Order of the Crimson Moon, the name of the character down the side there, the Crimson Moon logo, and then the big window on the front showing the figure and all the goodies. And on the back, we've got this wonderful artwork here by Dana Black. Go follow Dana on Instagram at Dana Black Forever, tremendous artist. But then we've got some lore text at the top, biographical information about Wolfsbane that you can read if you're so inclined, and then the cross promotion side of the box gives us more of Dana's artwork, the logos again, the name of the figure again, Big Bad Workshop, and then it's the same on the other side, but Fresh Monkey Figure. So there we go, folks. That's what it looks like for the Minting Box collectors, or if you're just interested to know the peg presence of Wolfsbane in his box. But I'm not minting box. I'm going to get this bad boy cracked open, get good and hands-on, man-child playtime, have him as desk figure. Keep me distracted while I'm not concentrating on Teams calls at work, all that kind of good stuff. Pose him up, take some photos, put him in display, see how all that goes, jot down some review thoughts, and share those review thoughts with you lovely folks. So stick around. I'll be back, or future Chris will be back in 3, 2, 1. Right then, boys and girls, let's get into the review section of the video now then. Let's start by talking about the aesthetic, about the visual experience of Wolfsbane here. As always, I'll kick things off with a full head-to-toe look at the figure so you can, soak that in and enjoy. And as you can see, he's broadly speaking, uniformly in line, various kind of colour features, for example, and design features tie into the wider visual identity of the Crimson Moon uniform, as it were. So the red and black kind of thing that's going on with the white trim. Obviously the logo there printed on his chest, it's all present and correct. Now in this iteration of the character, in the Wolfsbane version of the character, we've got this masked head, which we'll have a closer look at in a minute. I'll talk about the red shadow connection a little bit later on when we take a look at the head swap. But spoiler alert, he's also a nostalgia bait figure in the line for sure. Getting in a bit closer then, let's have a look at the finer details, and let's start with the head sculpt. And it's this masked head sculpt here that we've seen again a number of times across the Operation Monster Force and Soldier of Fortune, so on and so forth. So this sort of I don't know, it looks a bit like a leather balaclava, which I'm not going to go there. I'm going to leave that alone. But you can see some nice, very subtle details in here, like these stitching lines in across the top of there and around the sides of the eye section. I like the way it sort of pulls tight over the top of the brow here, which is lovely. Got the stitching sections all the way around. You can see them coming down the back as well. And then, of course, you've got the small section here with the eyes in it. Loving this. I'm always pleased. G.I. Joe Classified do this really well, where the vast majority of the face is covered, but they're still able to really kind of communicate an attitude, a demeanor, a vibe coming through just from that eye section there. So really nicely painted paint apps on the eyeballs and such like, but this very stern, very serious operator kind of vibe he's giving me. Let me know down below in the comments what vibe he's giving you. See some texture detail in here as well, some nice texture detail on this front section of the face mask, the elasticated kind of bit net piece on his sweater there, and then going down the sweater you can see he's got the kind of fabric texture detail, the pulls, the creases and such like. The coat has got a suitably leathery vibe on it, with some sculpted details as well, like again pockets, stitching lines, buttons, etc, etc. You can definitely see that kind of fabric texture detail here with all the way it sort of drapes and hangs down his back. You've got the little belt section here at the back pulling it tight. Give me a nice tailored look. Lovely tailored look there for Wolfsbane. Not skimping out on some cheap-ass off-the-rack. This is designer, folks. You know what I'm saying? They have added a little splash of colour to the long leather coat there with the white lapels. I've got to say, though, the white lapels, the paint application here is really untidy. Proper splodged on. I don't know if you can see the kind of leaky sections that are going on. So there's a little bit of leak there, a little bit of leak there. It's very sketchy up the edge of this here. And then round the back, you can see it's got chips and it's been worn down here. And that was out the packet, you know, that was out the box. Very shiny too, very shiny white, which is nice in a way because it obviously ties them in uniformly with the Count Iron Moonstroke Baron Ironblood look. But yeah, it's not very well applied, and it stands out as really shiny on top of this kind of more rubbery matte jacket here. Moving down into the legs, you can see, you know, we've seen these legs before across the line. So you've got the texture detail in the pants, got the sculpted in belt and such like. No paint applications on the belt, no paint applications on the belt buckle, which is a bit of a shame. Also, no paint applications on things like the buttons, but I'm less bothered by that with this than I have been by other figures in this wave. You can see as well, he's got the thigh pads on here. Again, these are reused from across the line. They've got the peg studs in there. There's not really much with Wolfsbane himself that makes use of those peg studs, but obviously you can kit bash around with other items from the rest of your Fresh Monkey Fiction lines. Then we've got his gauntlets here, very shiny under my little action figure studio stage lights here, but these are nice, you know, lovely shiny metallic paint application on them. Got nice details in there like the paneling and stuff, making them look all suitably you know, sci-fi, science fiction, fantasy kind of stuff. Or if you're using the red shadow version of the character, the more bionic-y type stuff, you can see the nice sculpting here on the back of the hands as well. There you go, that's a better shot of it. You can see there across the back of the hands or on the inside of the hands, that nice the nice kind of bionic-y science fiction look. Wolfsbane's got his knife sheath. We've seen that on every single one of the named characters from the Order of the Crimson Moon so far. I've actually left the knife in here. I usually take that out for this section. That's in the matching red to keep that kind of motif together. And then Wolfsbane's wearing the regulation issue Order of the Crimson Moon black leather boots that every single one of the characters have got. And that's about it, really. Like I say, the less sort of detailed selection of paint applications on him seems to affect my visual experience, my enjoyment of the aesthetics, less than it has done on the Count and on the Major. He's got a good look. He's badass. He's absolutely badass. He's giving me kind of, like I say, serious operator sort of vibes, like Firefly from G.I. Joe. He's giving me kind of this Firefly kind of sense on him. Which I really appreciate. He looks cool, the long leather jacket, you know, he's just giving off badass cool vibes. I'm actually seriously considering maybe not red jackling this guy up with the head swap and keeping him as Wolfsbane, but we'll see how that pans out given time. But yeah, I think I'm giving the aesthetic thumbs up. Oddly enough, I've enjoyed the aesthetic vibe of this guy possibly the most out of all three that I've received. Isn't that a controversial statement? Anyway, there we go. There's the aesthetic, the visual experience with Wolfsbane. Let's now take a look at his articulation and posability. And just before I get into it, folks, I know some will be less interested in the articulation. It is standard Fresh Monkey Fiction / Big Bad Workshop fare with the figure. So if you've had one in hand before, you'll be familiar with what's about to go down. So if you want to avail yourself of the chapters, jump forward to the timestamp to where I talk about the accessories and added value, please do. However, if this is the first time you've seen a Fresh Monkey Fiction, Operation Monster Force or Order of the Crimson Moon figure being reviewed, or you're interested to know if there's any particular quirks or nuances to this guy, stick around, I'll talk you through it, and we'll get started with the head. And up top here, we've got a ball in the base of the skull, ball in the base of the neck, and a hinge on the neck as well. So you've got good down to there. You got good up all the way up to there, look. Full 360 exorcist, la 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 la, all the way around. And, you know, tilt, 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 swivel, swivel, do, you know, wide range of motion. And there's no tall collars or anything around the neck getting in the way of your motion there. Coming down into the arms, the shoulder's a butterfly joint. It's underneath the jacket here, but the jacket doesn't get in the way. You shuffle it, you can shuffle back and forward fine. Then it's a peg and a hinge, so you can go around all the way through full 360 and T-shape him out like that. Got a swivel line here at the top of the bicep and tricep, a pinless double elbow that will get you up to there, Then pegged in hands that can move all the way around at the wrist. And then these ones out of the package, the kind of bionic ones, we've got an up and down hinge on the right hand there, and we've got a forward and back hinge on the left one there. But there's a wide range of hand swaps in the packaging, and they have some are in and out, some are up and down. Coming down into the torso, you can see it's a barbell joint and a ball joint in there, so you've got pretty decent crunch forward. Fairly decent crunch back, aside from the jacket getting in the way, and lots of swiveling and tilting using those kind of two balls in the torso area. Coming down into the legs, we've got the hips and the groin are drop down joints with balls at the edge of the hips, giving you forward to there, full Russian ballet out to there, and you've got that kind of steppy motion, all fine and dandy. And swivel at the top of the thigh, pinless double knee, that'll get you up to there. You got a swivel at the top of the boots, and then the hinge and rocker for your feet motion. So, thumbs up on the articulation. It's up to contemporary standard in their kind of price bracket here. Fresh Monkey Fiction are decent. The only thing I will say is that very stiff out the box. Had to apply a lot of heat to get him moving, particularly in the knees and the elbows, which I've noticed a few times with Fresh Monkey Fiction figures. Kind of a bit creaky out the box. Still a bit creaky now, but obviously still clearly giving me the full range of motion. So yeah, good. The jacket doesn't seem to get in the way a great deal. I found when I was taking some pictures with him, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, my imagination, the pose, what I was seeing in my mind's eye and trying to recreate for my photo, I was able to do. I was not limited in any way. So all good on that front. So there we go. There's the articulation. Let's now take a look at his accessories and added value, shall we? And first up on the accessory selection, we have the head swap here. The kind of bionic robo helmet on Wolfsbane, but obviously those of us who know are fully aware that this is how we transform the Wolfsbane figure into the Red Jackal, Red Shadow persona. And just incidentally, it's not just a head swap, it's head and a neck swap. You can see it's got a fresh metallic neck under here too. Decent sculpt, lovely kind of design in here. Kind of evocative, gives off this sort of 80s robo helmet kind of style. I don't know why looking at it makes me think Doctor Who-ish, kind of early Doctor Who special effects kind of stuff. But it's a nice sculpt. You can see all the panels in here with the bolts and rivets and stuff in place just to bring the kind of robo bionic headness of it all to life. Look at that across the top there with all the various kind of embellishments. We then got some breathing sections here with like a little kind of grill, molded in grill shape. Same again on the front, got this on the mouth here, got this little grill shape on there, and then the two glowing red eyes. So if you are looking to complete your kind of named Red Shadow character lineup, then there you go. There's your Red Jackal, folks. Then we have this fun piece. Wolfsbane here comes with this kind of hard carry case. That he's carrying something inside. We'll have a look at that in a second. It's got a nice sculpt to it, obviously giving off that sort of steel case look and feel with the design and the aesthetic of it. Got your handle there pegged in, so it's it can fold down or fold up, and you can see some paint rub from the silver on the hands where I've been posing him with it, gripping onto it. So that's fun, that's great. But it also opens up. It's on a hinge there. You can open it up and you can see you've got this kind of padded section here. And then these two lovely pieces, just take one of them out to show, where you can slide this canister section off the top to reveal some suspicious red glowing glass things inside, which are somewhat reminiscent of the green virus canisters in the movie The Rock. You see you got some lovely sculpted details in the bottom there with the holes and like a little handle piece at the top, and then can be unscrewed and popped out there like that. So Wolfsbane here, he's dealing in some sort of dodgy, illicit gear. The less we know, the better. The only thing I will say about this is because of the way they've sculpted the hinge on the bottom there, you can't just sit the case flat on upright. You have to lie it down flat, which is a little bit of a shame, but I must be honest, most of the time I've photographed him with it or displayed him with it, he's carrying it or it's open and he's pissing about with the canisters inside. Then we have Wolfsbane's wrist-mounted selection of gear. I'll show you that in just a second, but the core unit are these two in the middle here. So you can see we've got this this kind of little mini missile rocket launching thing. Single piece, well, it's two pieces actually. Two pieces of red sculpted plastic. I'm not really doing it justice within my fingers, so I'll lay it back down again in a minute. But you can see the sculpted detail there. And it's got this peg section on here, which fits onto the wrist. And then you've got the front section here, which has got the rockets sitting in the unit, but you can pop those out, and then that's where you can engage with some of the other sections. I'm trying to do this, but I'm trying to pick things up by looking at them on the screen rather than looking directly at them. So for example, we've got this cannon piece here, this little barrel cannon piece there, which you can plug in like so, with the little vents in them and stuff. I'm struggling with this bit here with keeping things in focus. Or you've got a section here that you can plug in, which is got the blast effect on them and shows the missiles being launched out from the wrist. As you can see, my little mini missiles are a little bit bent on the end there. I've just bent it worse in the opposite direction, but easy fix. We've got this lovely translucent red and orange kind of blast effect firing out there. And one other thing I noticed is it's got a peg hole at the back. There doesn't appear to be anything included to use in that peg hole, but I suspect it's been put there, so if you want to put some sort of smoke out the back or anything like that, you can do. Or finally, if you're not inclined to use the kind of wrist-mounted rocket launchers or cannons or whatever, we've got just some peg-over pieces. It's got that same little peg piece on the back, so you can just put a little red panel section over the top of his gauntlets. So you can see the port there at the back of the gauntlet piece, and then you just clip it on. Oh, Christ, a bit fiddly, but you clip it on like so. There you go, he's got his wrist-mounted rocket launchers. The only thing I will say is that the peg's quite shallow, and it's a little bit loose. It pops out sometimes, when you're posing up and fiddling about, but it's easy enough to correct. Then we have this full suite of hand swaps that you get as standard with your Fresh Monkey Fiction figures. You got a left and right grippy hand with a trigger finger, left and right evil claws, left and right closed fists, and left and right kind of standard grips. And as you can see, these are in a kind of black gloved form, so that you can, in terms of head cannon stuff, rather than them being bionic hands, you can have them as normal hands with a kind of rocket launching bracer attached. Then Wolfsbane has again got the standard kind of weapons loadout with him. He's got the pistol. This is the same one as we saw on Major Noir. Same design. You got the single piece of molded plastic there with the removable magazine. The issue is the same with Wolfsbane as I found with the Majors. The magazine's a bit loose and kind of falls out quite a bit. However, looks lovely. Got that great sort of 80s sci-fi, but not quite sci-fi, sort of comic booky pistol feel to it, with this excellent dry brush over the top to give it some depth and character. And then the knife is, a knife, got the grey plastic blade, got the sculpted hilt there, the handle. The grey plastic's not quite metallic enough for me, but that's all good and well. No storage on the figure for the pistol, no holster or anything, but as you saw earlier, there's a ankle sheath to put the knife into. We then also got the standard selection of effects for the pistol. We've got the blast effect there, same one we've seen on the Baron, same one we've seen, on the Count, same one we've seen on the Major, same one, I mean, I've got loads of these now myself. I mentioned in one of the other videos, if you've collected the whole line, you must have a bucket ton of these. And then the smoking barrel effect, again, seen these, loads of them, I've got loads myself. And then finally, we've got the foot stand, pretty standard foot stand, single piece of plastic with the two pegs for either feet to go into the peg holes at the bottom of the feet, the Crimson Moon, the Order of the Crimson Moon logo across the centre. It's pretty routine, this. I've said it before in this little kind of wave of reviews. Great that they've got a foot stand in there. I think everyone should be giving foot stands as standard. However, if your Crimson Moon is going next to your Operation Monster Force, you might be a little bit aggrieved that the foot stand isn't as consistently lined up with the kind of gravestone foot stands of Operation Monster Force with the printed names on the front. So yeah, thumbs up. This is a fun accessory selection. Like is often the case with Fresh Monkey Fiction. I like these kind of plug in, plug out, change around bits to make slight alterations to suit your own tastes or what you're trying to do with your figure in terms of how you display them, how you photograph them, how you prepare dios, those types of things. It's also interesting. It just means you can do all sorts of different interesting stuff with it, which makes it kind of exciting and interesting to play around with. Always good with head swaps, always good with hand swaps. It's lots of little fiddly bits, this guy, so rather than having a big whip or whatever, he's got lots of little fiddly bits. And I love the case with the evil canisters in them. That really ignited my imagination. I had a lot of fun playing around with those when I was taking photos the other day. So yeah, thumbs up on the accessory selection. Definitely think it's added value with this guy. All right, well, let's now take a look at Wolfsbane next to a couple of other figures, shall we? Okay, folks, I'm off for the first figure comparison here. We've got the Wolfsbane figure in his red Jackal persona next to the G.I. Joe Classified Destro. This is the retro card-back Destro. And for anyone who's curious out there in terms of head swapping, whether you can pop the Destro head on the Wolfsbane figure, sadly, I have to report that the ball in the base of the Order of the Crimson Moon figures is bigger. It's too big to fit the Destro on, and vice versa. If you put this on the Destro, it's too loose. The gap's too wide. And here he is next to the red uniform Operation Monster Force Sleepwalker figure. Here's Wolfsbane next to the head-swapped Count Iron Moon to make the Baron Ironblood figure. Here he is next to the new Soldier of Fortune Saboteur figure. I like to think that, you know, he's gone into a city to get up to some naughtiness and he's hired some local muscle. And here he is next to the Operation Monster Force Eraser figure. All right then, folks, well, here is Wolfsbane making his way around on the turntable, so you get a nice 360 view of the figure, and while you're eyeballing that, I'll offer up some final thoughts. And yeah, I like this figure. This one has possibly, like I said earlier, controversially won me over a bit more than the Major Noir and the Count Iron Moon that I've used to do the kit bash thing to make my Baron Ironblood and my Black Major, which is ironic. And further to that, as I also mentioned earlier, just to reiterate, I suppose, that I've been leaning more into the Wolfsbane character himself than I have been the Red Jackal character. I kind of like this masked sort of evil dude, fixer, a stroke assassin, stroke, evil red vial smuggler dude. It's actually really captured my imagination. So a fascinating turn of events, I would say. Now, what I will just momentarily revisit, if you've not seen my other two reviews, the attention to detail I don't think is quite as good on these Crimson Moon figures as they have been on Operation Monster Force. They're lacking in dry brushes, they're lacking in washes, they're lacking in little odd bits of paint application that really give it depth and bring it to life. It's not quite there as much, and maybe when you looked at the comparisons, you could see it as much as I see it when I have them in hand. But that said, they're super fun. They've got real kind of 80s retro nostalgia about them. Even if I'm not going for the Red Jackal, he still sort of fits the nostalgic vibe that's plucking on those nostalgic heartstrings. So yeah, I like this one. In fact, this is probably the one I'd recommend the most out of them all, because he's just super fun. He looks badass. I don't know why, he's just really captured my imagination. So there you go. Okay, folks, well, thanks for watching. I hope you found these useful. I hope this has helped you make a purchase decision if you've been thinking about picking up Wolfsbane for yourself. If it has, then do the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, head and drop a comment in for me, all that good stuff. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Take it easy, have yourselves a great day, and swing back around again for another video sometime soon, please, folks. All right, take it easy now. Ta-ra!